Drivin Ivan here, and behind me, one of the wildest cars you've ever seen, right? I happen to love really quirky cars, and this is about as quirky as it gets. It's an Aston Martin Lagonda. A lot of firsts for the car world. Very, very expensive, very, very luxurious. And I'm going to drive it, I'm going to review it, and we're going to find out if I'm impressed. First, smash that like button and subscribe. Okay, let's get started. Well, it's got that wedge shape that we love from the 70s. This looked like nothing else of the time. It was breaking with tradition. Aston Martin is a very proper, very luxurious, very upper crust brand, and they were breaking with tradition for this. Tradition is important. You know, they have the Bond vehicles. They have basically English prestige locked in for decades. The Beatles, you know, Paul McCartney had one of these. James Bond, you know, these were cars that were driven by the Prince of Wales. You know, you could see the Queen or the King in one of these. And, you know, even to this day, I think they have some in their fleet now, the royal family. Of course they do. So this is a car that is very, very luxurious. But this one just, wow. It just was a new paradigm shift for the company. And, man, people just had to be knocked out by it. I mean, love it or hate it, let me know in the comments. But I'm in the love it camp. I mean, I like weird cars. And this is as big as like the big Cadillacs of the day. And yeah, it's just striking. Any angle. This is especially cool too. But there you go. Wow. Just I think it's a beautiful design and striking. You know, it's not like too many other things you're going to see in the automotive world. And to me, well, that's what I want to see. So excited to be with this car today. I met the owner at the Festival of Speed in St. Petersburg yesterday, so you can watch my video on that showing you every car that was there. And there were some wild cars like this one. Really rare stuff there, but this was the one I think I would have liked to drive home of all of them. Maybe the Alpine A110, but this is the one I wanted to drive home, and here it is the next day, and I'm driving it. So it's kind of a bucket list car for me. I drove and reviewed the Countach. Watch my video, The Truth About Driving the Countach, but this one is another absolute bucket list car for me. Unfortunately, I don't have the key to the trunk. It is quite big, and I believe that on either side you have a gas tank. I'm guessing that's what these are, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's got a big trunk, definitely. And very strange that only for the rear sunroof. An interesting feature for sure. Inside and up front, beautiful, beautiful oxtail leather. It's very soft. I love the color and the contrast with the blue exterior. And look at that, the matching piping. Oh man, this is just a really, really luxurious, opulent vehicle. Of course, it looks a little dated today, but man, you have a locked storage in the middle. Pop it open, and you got some deep storage there. Moving forward, the transmission stalk. These are all controls, 3 per side for the seat. And I believe it's a 3-speed automatic transmission. Ashtrays, of course, cigarette lighters. And moving forward, you got your window controls there and your door locks. And then this aftermarket stereo. Beautiful Aston Martin emblem there. And of course, fine wood grain as well. That wood grain and leather and trim continue across the dash, of course, and then you get to the pièce de résistance here. Yes, 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 the digital dash. Here we go. Look at that. So incredibly cool, huh? Tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge, transmission indicator, temperature, And looks like some warning lights up top there. Fortunately, those aren't on. I think this one's been pretty well maintained over the years. I believe he has 3 of these actually, and he's a long-time owner. I think he had this as his daily driver at some point back in the past, so that's pretty darn cool. But this was the first production digital dash in an automobile. How about that? Isn't that cool? So Aston Martin really went out to the future with this, and I think they suffered a little bit for it because there were some problems, but as long as you maintain them, the owner says that you know, this one has been pretty reliable. This is kind of interesting. The outside button here controls the heavily tinted mirror here, but you would think that maybe this one controls the passenger, but no, it controls the one behind you, and then this one controls, nope, not that one, but the one back there. So that's kind of wild. And then the one outside here controls your passenger window. So those buttons aren't aligned exactly the way you think they might be. In back, you get your window controls, holders in the back of the seats there, and luxurious 3 across seating. Nice finish for the doors too, of course. So there you go, an interior that is extremely luxurious at the time that this vehicle was made, and all the wood and leather you could hope for, and that wild digital dash thrown in for good measure as well. Very cool. You're looking at a 5.3 liter V8 that was capable of 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, 6.2 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is 62 miles an hour basically. 300 pound-feet of torque and 280 horsepower. So it was very quick for the day. And you know, again, the shape, you either love it or you hate it. It was absolutely chosen to be one of the ugliest cars of all time, but also one of the best looking. It's got the wedge shape of the Countach and the DeLorean they compare it to, but basically I think it has a shape all of its own because it's just such a huge 4-door sedan, and I absolutely love the shape. It was always one of the most expensive cars available. Nothing really came close. You know, Rolls Royces and things like that were at least very expensive too, but this was always more expensive. The production cost of that crazy digital dash was really what drove up the price, and they sold about 675 or so of these throughout its 1970, mid-70s to 1990, so 15-16 year production run. Couple were built with bigger engines, and then even now today they have built a couple with very luxurious features. That's kind of a throwback to this one, but Lagonda was a name that Aston had bought in the 40s and decided to give to this top of the line model right here. Wow, first impressions of this Aston Martin Lagonda. It's a big car, you know? It's like a Lincoln or a big Cadillac, but it's not. It's British. It's got a huge V8 engine up front, and it was absolutely the most expensive, most cutting edge car of its time. The design is just absolutely crazy. It's like nothing else. The wedge shape, the digital dashboard, the first of its kind ever. I mean, this thing was, you know, it looked like it was out of some sort of space movie back then. That's what you have to realize. You know, now it just looks kind of like a weird car, but back then, man, this thing was, you know, it was a strange bird, to say the least. Truly an amazing car. And wow, I'm thrilled to be driving this. I love weird cars, and you know, how many weird car boxes does this thing tick? All of them. So wow, amazing. Even with that strange clicking noise I'm getting right now, who cares? I'm driving an Aston Martin Lagonda. It's crazy. You go ahead and put it in reverse. And look at that, shows you up on the digital dash. But you know, the vision out of the car is very good. That C-pillar is a little bit big, but look at that. And it's got the sunroof back there for the rear passenger, not the front passenger. You got lights up there. I mean, it's all you know, for its day, this is as advanced as you could get with these controls. You know, you just didn't have, this is obviously aftermarket, but you just didn't have, you know, this fancy of a dash. This was a 70s car. It came out originally in the 70s, 76 to about 1990. And wow, this was so far into the future. You can't imagine. Even the shape too. 0 to 60 in 6 is certainly not fast by today's standards, but back then it was. And this car does have a lot of get up and go for its day. Made it to the Chrysler 3-speed transmission. They certainly saved some money with development there. I'm actually on a brick road here, and it's a very sort of traditional American comfortable ride in this. It's kind of a throwback to, you know, the Cadillacs that I used to drive. I took my driver's test in a 70 Coupe de Ville convertible. Check out my full driving review of the Cadillac Eldorado that I recently reviewed, 1976, I believe. But it's got that ride, but at the same time, the steering feels much tighter than anything out of America in the 70s or 80s. There's certainly power steering, but the effort is pretty heavy. The pedals are kind of over to the left, whereas in most cars with the wheel intruding, they'd be over to the right. But here you have kind of an intrusion, so it feels a little bit weird there. But, you know, easily you get used to it. Just another quirk of this absolutely quirky, amazing vehicle. How about the horn? The brake pedal, interesting. Very big American car feeling. A little bit soft, but good braking power once you get into it. So, did meeting one of my hero cars impress me? Absolutely. This is definitely one of the quirkiest cars out there. And I absolutely love quirky cars. And like I say, there's not too many more strange cars out there. I have a 1987 Citroen CX wagon, 5-speed manual that's pink. That's a pretty strange car. And this one too, absolutely a strange car. And I love it. It surprised me, actually, the way it drives. It really is a throwback to 70s and 80s American cars. That was a bit surprising. And again, it's sprung definitely firmer than those cars, and it's really quicker than those cars too. And with the digital dash and things like that, well, you know, as you moved into the 80s, the Cadillacs did have the digital dash, but this was the first one. So again, this one's the king of them all, driven by kings in Europe, and actually has a very cool history with the owner here too. The owner of this car actually drove it a pretty long distance for his wedding, and he said that it was absolutely reliable. And down here in Florida, like I said, I'm in the St. Petersburg area, and close by in Clearwater, actually Evel Knievel had one of these back in the day, and he used to tow a coffin trailer with this so that he would have someplace to sleep when he was on these road trips. So that's wild. That shows you, you know, Evel Knievel back in the 70s, he had all the money there was. He was doing these crazy stunts, jumping over the Snake River Canyon and such in rockets and on his motorcycles. And yeah, that just goes to show you, very wealthy people had these cars back in the day. So this was the pinnacle of luxury. It was the pinnacle of technology also, and it was the pinnacle of basically controversial but forward-thinking wedge design shape. So yeah, This thing really ticks all the boxes for me. I absolutely love it. And yes, I am definitely impressed with this Aston Martin Lagonda. Smash that like button, subscribe if you already haven't, share my videos, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of it, and search any car in Drivin Ivan. Follow me on TikTok, The Real Drivin Ivan, Drivin IvanKatz, leaving off the G, on Instagram and here on YouTube, of course. I also have Ivan Katz Productions and Ink Video channels on YouTube, and also on TikTok now for music content, music stories. I tell you the stories behind songs. I play all the instruments on songs like Hotel California, Squeeze, Another Nail for My Heart, Hotel California, even Louie Louie, and even a Slicky Boys song. Check that out too. Just search Ivan Katz Music. You can find my music on Amazon and iTunes and SoundCloud, but check out my Free Your Mind music video that has a lot of my car collection and musical instrument collection in it, an original song I wrote. And if you want to know what I drive, search What Does Drivin Ivan Drive, and do check out my disc golf videos as well. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Drivin Ivan.